Hello, second graders. Chief Kron here, and of course, Buddy. In our last lesson, we met some of the many people and businesses that provide goods and services in our community. Goods like trophies and tires and pizza, and services like auto repair and haircuts. Today, I want to take you back to one of the businesses that we met in our last lesson. It just also happens to be one of my favorite businesses in our community. Hertz Donuts. Let's check it out. Hertz produces, which is really just another name for makes, donuts. Let me introduce you to the manager of Hertz Donuts, Scott. He's going to show us the production process and how you make yummy treats.
Thanks, Chief. So we have quite a variety of different types of donuts that we make on the daily basis. We have yeasty donuts, and if you've ever had a glazed donut, that's what one of our yeast donuts is. We also have cake donuts. Yeast donuts have a much lengthier process. We start by mixing up the mix with our water, and that gives us a big old ball of dough. From that point, we cut that dough into pieces, knead it up, and let it rest for a little while. After it rests, we roll it out on a big old table with a rolling pin, and then we have little donut cutters on a spinny wheel type thing that allows us to cut out all of those donuts. After we cut out all the shapes of the donuts that we need, we put them into what we call a proofer, which is essentially a giant hydration machine. It makes water vapor, which the donuts absorb, and they get nice and poofy. From that point, they come out of the proofer, and they rest for a little while before they get dropped into a fryer, which has a big old container of hot oil, which cooks the donuts. After that process, they dry out a little bit, after which they get decorated. Now, that's just one of the processes for yeast donuts. We also make cake donuts. The process for those is a little bit different. For cake donuts, what we do is we make a big old batch of batter, and we load it into this device here, which we call a hopper. And this hopper dispenses donuts one at a time into the fryer, the same way that we cook our yeast donuts. So the process is a lot quicker, and they end up creating a slightly different donut. So we have a yeast donut here and a cake donut here. Both of them are delicious, though. So when it comes to decorating donuts, we have a couple different toppings that we need to include here. We have our icing as well as our rainbow sprinkles. We're going to make the donut that we refer to as the Homer. So what we have to do is start by heating up our icing, and then once it's nice and thinned out, we just drop the donut right on the icing, give it a little twist, shake off any excess, and then hit it with sprinkles. That's all there is to it.
So that's it. Thanks for showing us the process, Scott. I have a couple questions for you, though. What happens with donuts that are made incorrectly?
Well, sometimes we have donuts that are defective. In other words, we call them defects. Now, here's an example of one such donut. It's a little bit too small. It's got some hard, crusty parts to it. We wouldn't really want to use this donut. So, in order to make sure the customers are only getting the best donuts and they're not getting defects, we would throw this one out, or so as to not be too wasteful, we might crumble it up and use it as a topping on another type of donut.
And how about new flavors? Who decides what new kind of donuts to make?
It's a great question. Well, we have lots of different toppings at our disposal, and so sometimes we like to get a little innovative, and we like to take all the different types of toppings that we have and see what makes sense, and we might ask our decorators to get a little creative and to innovate and come up with their own new creations, just using all the different types of flavors that we have at our disposal on a daily basis.
Well, thank you, Scott, for showing us around the donut factory.
You're welcome, Chief.
That's a wrap for Buddy and I, second graders. He's been such a good boy, I think we'll give him a treat. And it's time for you Sweet O's employees to produce and innovate. Until next time, stay safe and do your best.